WeatherScope.
Thanks for joining us this evening for WeatherScope. Jill Brown and Bob Stokes with you here. We have improving conditions on the west coast. I wouldn't say in the west overall, but definitely on the coast.
Right, we do. It's leaving, getting into Arizona, so that's part of the west, and not improving. But the northeast is going to be very slow to improve. We've got a slow-moving nor'easter. What a messy time in New York going to work. I mean, if you had to catch a taxi out in the open, you got wet if you didn't have an umbrella. And many of you in Boston were fighting wind gusts of more than 45 miles an hour at times, and it's been windy much of the day. As you walk to work, the umbrellas went flying, and some decided it just wasn't worth the effort to carry one. It just went right into the trash, as you'll see in just a moment, because they were just of no use at times. Temperatures in the 30s today, but the wind chill made it feel like 10 degrees at times. Now, in New York City, the scene wasn't quite as windy. It's cold and wet. Not the best day for a walk in Central Park, but not quite as windy as Boston. While heavy rain fell in Manhattan during the morning rush hour, it didn't seem to affect the morning commute too much. Keep the umbrellas handy tonight. The windswept rain should continue into the overnight hours. And it's a messy one as a slow-moving nor'easter moves toward the northeast, the outer edges of the Gulf of Maine. Now, along the immediate coast, it's rain because it's just too warm for any snow. But as you get into the inland areas, winter storm warnings have been issued for the northern Adirondacks, where 8 to 14 inches of snow could come down, the northern mountains of New York. Now, some of the White Mountains of New Hampshire, in the shadow of them, there's been some warm and dry air coming in, and so it hasn't been snowing there. But as a northerly wind comes in, then that snow is going to start later tonight. But you can see where the low is, the surface feature of it, moving toward the northeast, and we've got that wraparound motion, so it's bringing in that Atlantic moisture, and this is where the heavy snow is coming down. Around Lake Placid, New York, you've seen several inches of snow. For a time, Syracuse, you were seeing heavy snow. If you live there, you very well know that. But it looks like the sleet has stopped in Albany. Sleet was coming down, so be careful. You still need to be careful driving along I-90, the New York Thruway, through the Capital District. Largely rain. It's been coming down in New York on up into Boston. It's going to be very slow to improve. It's going to be coming down tonight, the precipitation. And even in Boston, even after the rain stops, it's still going to be cloudy for much of the day tomorrow. Temperatures have not been extraordinarily cold in the inland areas, so the snow has been heavy and wet, and that's what's coming down now. Slide Mountain, New York, you've seen over a foot of snow. And just getting to the northeastern part of Pennsylvania, there have been reports of over a foot of snow. That continues through the Poconos, the Catskills, and again, the Green and White Mountains later are going to see heavier snow and some winter storm warnings in effect for portions of the higher elevations of Maine. You can see Philadelphia getting wet. It's that counterclockwise flow bringing in the moisture. It's in here that we're seeing the snowfall. And at the Blue Hills Observatory in Boston, or not far from Boston, it's in Milton, Massachusetts, you saw a 63-mile-per-hour wind gust earlier today, and that's just indicative. They haven't generally been that strong, but the gusts have exceeded 55 miles per hour along the coast, and we can see some of the heavier snow areas right there, and we still have that gale warning in effect from Eastport, Maine to the Merrimack River, Massachusetts. So if you have shipping or marine interest, do take note, and lesser winds as you move down the mid-Atlantic coast, but still quite gale force indeed. What a beautiful picture of the southeast is. We have that high pressure area in charge, and that means a gorgeous day tomorrow in Atlanta. It's gorgeous now, just pretty as you please across much of the southeast. What's going on in the west? How does it compare to the east? With the Western Story, here's Jill.
Okay, thanks, Bob. Before the heavy rain ended in California, it left some problems behind. And the path of this storm is easily found here in San Diego. This is just one example. The California Highway Patrol says the heavy rain crumbled the cement foundation, opening up a sinkhole on this Interstate 15 on-ramp at Balboa Avenue. That happened just after midnight, then pounding rains throughout the night worsened the problem, and by this morning, the sinkhole looked like a canyon, 65 feet deep in some portions and about 700 feet long. Really just amazing, and we continue to get reports in of mudslides that occurred this afternoon in places where the snow piled up as much as a foot and a half. Well, this is what's left of it now, and actually the next several days appear to be dry, and that's something I haven't been able to say in a while. Not in February. It's just about every other day we had rain, and that piled up more than a foot in places like Los Angeles. It's been the wettest February on record in many cities in California. This latest round of rain alone produced almost 11 inches at Mount Wilson in California. Santa Barbara, 3.9 inches, and Los Angeles, 2.3. These may not be the final tallies, but we're just about there. We have a few sprinkles left, a few showers, but the bulk of the precipitation overall, whether it's rain or snow, has moved farther east, and the problems go with it. So we've started to find a few reports of severe weather into Arizona, Pinal County, severe thunderstorm warning. And that's just southeast of the Phoenix area. And real heavy snow is falling. Winter storm warnings remain in effect for many of the mountain locations. Meanwhile, in California, the sun is shining again. We still have heavy surf advisories, and it is definitely a windy night behind our front. Strong westerly winds in Southern California should give you a little bit of caution because of this, because the grounds are saturated, winds are strong, trees could come down. So the storm may not be completely finished with you in California. We're getting there, but it's not over with yet. So here's a look at the latest lightning data, and you can see that the few thunderstorms that we've had haven't produced a whole lot of lightning. We haven't had a whole lot of reports of severe weather, but a couple, again, around the Phoenix area and now around Tucson. We also have some flash flood warnings. So Arizona getting a little soaking. Farther north, the snow has really picked up in Colorado, and I'd say in Aspen and Steamboat, that snow is coming down pretty heavily now. This is our new snowfall forecast, so now this goes through noon on Wednesday. Through midnight, you notice we only had 3 to 6 inches in Colorado, and if your spring break plans take you to Colorado for a little skiing, that may have had you concerned, but not to worry. This is the forecast for the heavier snow, which comes after midnight. In the meantime, Flagstaff, well, the snow is piling up early today, and it was really coming down. Look at the visibility here. Folks are still out and about, got to get to work, got to get the deliveries made, got to get the sidewalk cleared. And they did all of the above, and in fine fashion. The snow is coming down heavily this afternoon. Will continue to snow tonight. Some winter storm warnings do remain in effect. So along the Mogollon Rim, you're going to see some of the heaviest snow this day. Tonight and tomorrow, it's going to be Colorado that gets the heavier stuff as this low heads east. Good news, though, you can see a few